guys, I'm at the reloading bench. We are going to load up a seating depth test for the powder charge we just shot there in the last video. So we best load ended up being 40.6 grains. 40.3 ended up being pretty good as well. But yeah, the 40.6 ended up being the best. So we're going to go with that. We're going to load up a seating depth test at that number and go from there. Now basically a seating depth test, if you don't know, is basically just you find your best powder charge weight, and however you want to do that. I usually go by group. I'm just a backyard shooter, so best group usually wins. And then, you know, you find your best powder charge and then you go with that powder charge. And then you move on to your seating depth test, and in that you basically find lands of your rifle, the lands and grooves, and find where touching is for that bullet. Every bullet is different, so you're going to have to do this for every bullet. And best way I found out for that, which I may make a video on that sometime if you guys want me to, but I use the Hornady OAL gauge is what I use. Find it the quickest. You can also just, you know, put a split down the case and, you know, go with that as well, and kind of seat the bullet long and then let the bolt find, you know, put the cartridge in the chamber and, you know, chamber it, and let the bolt kind of find your overall length for that bullet. But I recommend doing a Hornady overall length gauge. They're not too expensive, so that's how I do it. So basically find your overall length for your bullet in your rifle, and whatever touching is, write down that number. The number really don't matter. So find touching and then back down either 3/1000ths or 5/1000ths at a time. And I usually go all the way to about 30 or 50 thousandths. 30 to 50 thousandths. That's where I usually find my most accuracy, is from touching to 50 thousandths. Now usually most like to sit around 20 thousandths in, but I go to 50 thousandths a lot of the time, just, you know, just to see, because there are some bullets that like to be seated, you know, way out there. But in my experience, most are 20 thousandths and in, closer to the lands. That's with my experience. Most like being a little bit closer. Like, I think the Barnes Match Burner liked 15 thousandths off, and ELD Match, I can't remember what they liked, but yeah, most are 20 thousandths and in. So that's basically it. I go in 5 thousandths. I find touching and then, you know, back off 5 thousandths at a time. You usually find what you're looking for within that, and it saves a little component, you know, on components on that. So for the ELDX, I already found what touching is, and it is, I do believe, 2 point, let's check my note. Yeah, I can definitely do a video on finding lands if you guys would like me to. So ELDX for me is 2.240, and that is touching. I use the OAL gauge, and I pushed it in there a little bit, so it's right around touching, just a little bit past touching for me, and I'm good. Some people like jamming the bullet. I've actually never done it, so I'm not sure what kind of accuracy you get out of that. I know a lot of bench rest guys like jamming the bullet, or it's either they shoot their bullet touching or jam, nothing else, a lot of them. But yeah, I haven't tried jamming it yet. Maybe someday. But So yeah, touching is 0.240 for me, 2.240, and once you have that number, you're pretty much good to go. And yeah, you're ready to set up your test. You're just using your previous powder charge that you found and backing off, using that powder charge, and then seating bullets from touching 5,000s back at a time, and go until you know, wherever you want to stop, really. Some people stop at 80,000s off the land. Some people go all the way, you know, past 100,000s. It's all up to you, really. But I found my most accuracy from touching to, you know, like I said, to 50,000. So that's where I stop. Alright, and that's pretty much it. We're going to talk about components next. Alright guys, components for today is going to be my 6 times fired SIG brass. I got a row here that I'm trying to catch up to 6 times fired. It's only 3 times fired, but so I've just been kind of running those every firing. These ones get fired, but we still got 28 left that are 6 times fired. So we got to get those up to 7th time, and that's and then we'll be almost all caught up. So it's my 6 times fired SIG brass, holding up good still. I love this brass. It is the Elite Performance components from SIG. Some people don't like it. I like it. I've had really good luck with it so far, and we will see. Like I've said before, if I get 8 to 10 firings out of it, I consider it, you know, plenty good enough. So yeah, that's our brass. We are annealed. We need to finish prepping it, which we're going to pretty much do everything. We got to do the rest of the steps. For powder day, we are going to be using the usual Hornady H4350. Eventually, I'll start buying more powders to test out more, you know, more bullets, more powders. Right now, I got a couple powders on hand, but right now we're just going through some of the 4350 I got and trying to find some good loads with that. So that's our powder, and as you know, it's obviously the ELDX bullet we're going to be using. It is a Hornady, I'm sure everybody knows that. Hornady ELDX. It is a boat tail and a polymer tip. The ELD match looks almost identical, so you got to watch out for that. Make sure you're running either the ELDX or the ELDM, and both have shot good so far in this rifle. And for primers, we are using my back stock of CCI 250s. Magnum primers. I got a couple more sleeves of that, so just trying to get through some of these old powder primers I got, and yep, just trying to get them used up. Oh, let's see here. I think that's pretty much components. We are going to be loading up shots of 3. And then after this seating depth test, we will, you know, follow up the load that we find with probably 20 or 50 5-shot groups of that load that we found best accuracy with. And yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, so that's components. Now we need to start prepping brass. And the first thing we're going to have to do is pop some primers. So I'll get that set up. Alright guys, I'm going to set up my universal decapping die. This die is just a depriming die, just universal depriming, so you can use most calibers in it or with it. And I do it like this. I separate my decapping process from everything else. That way this die gets the dirtiest and my other more expensive dies, you know, stay a little cleaner. Because that's the dirtiest part, is, you know, popping primers. Basically screwing in the die until it touches the shell holder. Make sure your decapping pin is down far enough and you're good to go. No lube needed for this die. Run it in normal. So put your case in there, run it up, you'll feel the primer pop out and you're good to go. You have a freshly deprimed case. Alright, let's go through a couple of these. I don't have my, this is the Lee Classic Press, Classic Cast Press, and it comes with a little on the prime little thingy, and yeah, if you don't have that in, sometimes the primers pop out the side. Alright, so yeah, like I said, these are annealed. We are trying to catch some up to 6 times fired, and we are trying to catch the rest up to 7 times fired. Well, so technically I'm trying to catch all of them up to 7 times fired. That's basically it. With the Lee decapping, universal decapping die. Pretty simple die to set up, and you're just doing one operation. Basically just popping primers, and that's it. Pretty simple process. I will save you from the rest of the boring process. Alright, see you in the next step, which will be, we'll do some resizing next. We're going to give all of them a quick little primer pocket clean. That way when we get ready to size, at least the primer pockets are all clean on them. And I usually get that done before sizing. Helps out a little bit. Even though the sizing die doesn't really do anything to the primer pocket, I just like to have clean primer pockets when the brass goes into my good dies. So that's it. I basically run my Lyman primer pocket tool into all of them, and that's basically it. So that's the next step I do before sizing. Alright guys, we are ready to size now. So yeah, basically I just like to have the primer pockets all set, so that when they go up into my good dies, I'm not, you know, contaminating them with a bunch of crap. Alright, so I use a Redding body die. This die only hits the body of the case. It does not touch the net. Sizes the body and it bumps the shoulder back. Some people call it a bumping die, shoulder bumping die, you know, or a body die. Now, if you're starting off fresh, you're basically going to run this to the shell holder and then come up maybe half turn, quarter turn, something like that, and ease in on your bump, basically. But since I have it set, I just run it down to the locking die. I back up just a little bit, just to make sure this hasn't moved at all, but usually it's all set. So first things first, you got to get out your calipers and you got to get your headspace gauge, because you need to know what you're bumping your shoulder to begin with. So you got to check your headspace, and to do that, got to have your calipers. This is just a headspace comparator gauge, Hornady. You can get short action custom one, Hornady. I like the Hornady one. The other one's a little too pricey. I'm sure it works fine, but alright, make sure you're on inches, not millimeters. You're ready to go. Make sure you're zeroed out. Why is it coming on millimeters here? Alright, inches, zeroed. Good to go. Maybe you have to change the batteries in them. Alright, so you got to check your headspace. before you start bumping your die. And this gun runs around 1.5565. This one is 5585. So some of them are maybe a tad longer than normal. 558, 555, or 556, 558. So most of these are running 558. So I think these back ones, nope, these ones are 558 as well. So we are running at 5575 to 5585 is what we're running right now. You don't have to check every single one, but I'd check a good, like maybe 10 of them. I don't know if you guys can see that. Alright, let's get to the back row here. Check a couple on the back. 5565, 557, somewhere around there. We're going to go 558. So I'm going to back off my shoulder bumping die or body die just a little bit. I am using Imperial sizing die wax. Works the best for me. I have used Lee's. I have used their lube, Lee's sizing lube, and that works good as well. That one's water soluble, which is kind of nice. That way you don't gotta worry about too much on the case. But Imperial, for this die, I like Imperial sizing die because this die is kind of a tight die, and I almost got one stuck with using Lee's lube. But on Lee's dies, I've had no problem with any lube actually. Alright, so you're only sizing the body, so you don't got to worry about the neck. You don't have to lube the neck. Let me grab a rag, wipe off my fingers. Alright, so put a little bit of sizing wax on your body. Take one more measurement. Make sure we're only bumping 2/1000ths. That's what I like to bump to. Anywhere between 1 and 3/1000ths is fine. I shoot for around 2. So 558 is where we're at. Alright, so that I don't think touched the shoulder at all. So my setting on my die is probably perfect. Yeah, it grew to 559, which it will do that. If you don't touch the shoulder, if you run your case up into the die and it's not touching the shoulder, then your case is most likely going to grow in numbers, you know, because it's stretching a little bit. I need to run it down. I'm just going to run it down to where I had it. I always double check because sometimes these dies move a little bit, so I like to make sure. So instead of sizing the one I just ran up through there again, I'm going to go to the next case, because you don't want to run a case up through the die like 10 times to get the setting right. Just keep switching to a new case and then go back to the other cases. Alright, so a little bit of lube on the body. I am going to check the headspace again. 1.558. Let's run that up. Felt like it hit the shoulder a little bit. There we go. So it was 558 and now it's 1.555, and that's perfect. That's around 3/1000ths. 2.5, 3/1000ths. So 5555 and it's reading 555 sometimes. So anywhere from 2.5 to 3/1000ths. Let me run this down just a hair. 3 is fine. I like to shoot for around 2, but that's fine. But didn't touch the shoulder, so I got to get that up through the die. Yeah. 5545 or 5545. Yep. That's around 3/1000, so I'm happy with that. No big deal. Alright, check the headspace on this one. The next one, 1.5555 to 556. So get a little bit of lube on the body. Alright, run it up through the die. Check the headspace. 553. 1.553. So yeah, that's about 3/1000ths as well. I'm going to back off the die just a hair. Alright, let's go to the next one. Take a headspace measurement. We are 558. Just a tad bit of lube on the body. And now I'm 554. 5545. So That was 3,500. So let me back off that die just a little bit more. Go to the next one. So yeah, this one is 557, 558. Alright, so 558, let me put a little bit on the body, some sizing wax, run it up through. Now it's reading 5565, and that's about 1.5 thousandths. So I'm going to come down just a hair, let it back up through. The die is good. Just want to run through the rest of your cases. Take a headspace measurement on like every 5th one or so and make sure you're still you know, bumping it correctly. This one's 558. Let's see what that gave me. Now it's 5555. So that's about 2.5 thousandths. So that's perfect. I am happy with that. Alright, so I'm going to run through the rest. Next will be neck sizing, getting the neck dimension, and then should be good. Alright guys, so the next step is going to be neck sizing. The die I use is a Lee neck collet sizing, neck sizing die. And basically what I'm doing is full length sizing the case, but I'm separating it into 2 steps. As you guys just saw, I got my body / bump die. That does the body. And now this next die will do the case, do the neck. So, it's same as full length resizing, but you're doing it into 2 steps. Now, I just found that it's my reloads are a little bit more accurate doing it that way. But it's really not much difference from full length resizing. The only difference is doing it this way, you work your brass a little bit less, because with a full length resizing die, you're stressing the neck more than what you need to, because when you put the case up through a normal full length resizing die, you're undersizing the neck, and then when you're pulling the case back down out of the die, you're setting the correct neck dimension. So you undersize the neck and then correctly size it when it comes back down. Doing it this way, you're never undersizing the neck, you're just getting it to its correct size. So you're working the brass a little bit less, and that's about it. Do you see it down the line in more reloads? I'm not sure quite yet, but I have noticed, you know, a little bit more accurate. So with this die, you don't need any lube. Some people use like a graphite lube. I don't. It don't really, not necessary. I am shooting for .288 neck, and they are right now sitting at .293. Alright, so let's get the die in the press. So with this die, I basically leave it long, run the case up in there, screw it down until you're touching the top of the case, and go from there. I recommend never to just neck size. I would always full length resize and then neck size together, or full length resize all in one. So 293 is where I'm sitting at right now. So 293, so this is how I do it. I run the case up in there, screw it down until it touches the shell, or, you know, top of the case mouth, bring it down, go half a turn. So I keep screwing down until I start feeling it hit the shoulder, which is right there. So it's squeezing the neck and just barely hitting the shoulder in my press ram, and I am at .288. That's how I like doing it. That way I have my ram handle all the way down. So yeah, I like my way better on that. So .2 0.289, somewhere around there. That's perfect. Alright, so let's go to the next one. 293 is what it's looking like. Put it up in there. See what it got it to. And 289. So let me go down just a tad more. Check that. There we go. 288, perfectly across the board. Perfect. So that's neck sizing. I'll show you one more. 293. Put it up in there. 290. Okay, I must have undid a little bit, so let me there we go, right there. Alright, try that. 288. Perfect. Alright, so that's neck sizing, guys. Next up will be seeing if we need to trim and chamfer or deburring, getting the rest of the case done. Alright, see you the next step. I wiped all the lube off it. We are neck sized now, so the cases are clean, or they got no lube on them, and they are fully neck sized and body sized now. Primer pockets are clean. So next we need to check overall length of the case. Now max case length is 1.920 and case trim length is 1.910. I trim to the max length because my chamber, that still leaves at 1.920, that still leaves 15 thousandths, anywhere between 15 thousandths and 10 thousandths of space still. And I don't like trimming too little because you can start developing carbon ring, and I don't want to do that. When this SIG brass came to me, it was way below trim length, so I already started developing a little carbon ring. I cleaned it out, and cleaning carbon ring, I don't know if you've ever done it, but it's a bitch. Now mine didn't develop too, it wasn't that bad, so I've seen a lot worse. But yeah, so I don't want to develop it anymore. So I'm trimming to 1.920 to eliminate some of the carbon ring that you can get from trimming too far. And that's basically how a carbon ring develops, is if you trim your brass too far, you're leaving space between the end of your case and the face of your chamber. Then after that you got your lands and grooves. If you got too much space there, you'll start developing a perfect little ring around there. And yeah, eventually if the ring builds up too much, you'll start developing pressure signs, heavy pressure signs, and you can actually even ruin your gun that way, I guess. I've never seen it that bad. Well, I have online, but I've never had it myself that bad. Alright, so we need to check overall length. So zero out your calipers, and I'm trimming to 1.920. So this one's 1.918, this one's 917, this one's 914, 917, 18. So most of these are still under trim. Okay, this one's 921. Okay, this one's 922. Here, I'm going to flip the ones that are too big. 919, 920. So I'm good with that. I'll leave it at 920. Okay, 925, that's definitely too long. Even those 921s, I could leave those too, but okay, 925, definitely got to trim that. And this is something you do have to go through every single one, because if you don't, and you run into, you know, if you only like measure half and you run into a really long case in the back and you load it, then you chamber that round. That's almost like developing carbon ring, except you're hitting the end of your chamber instead of the carbon ring, and it will pinch the neck and it will create massive pressure signs. It can. Ooh, 927, so yep, that one's definitely way too long. And last one, 918. Alright, so we have a few we need to trim, so that's our next process. Let's get them trimmed up. So this one is at 920, 1.920 or 919.5. Give it a little bit of chamfer. And deburr the outside. All that takes is a couple twists. And you're good to go. So that case is all done. And I usually go through and brush the necks 3 times as well. And that's it. Now I'm going to go through and chamfer deburr the rest that even didn't need to be trimmed. I'll chamfer, deburr, and brush the necks, but all the rest in here don't need to be trimmed, so I'll just do these ones first. Which I will leave out the ones that I do in here. Alright, so let's get these trimmed up. I think one was only 1/1000 needing trim, which I think was that one. But let's, because that one got barely touched. Yeah, 918.5, so good enough. Give it a little bit of chamfer. Deburr the outside. And brush the necks. Good to go. Alright, next. I'll show you guys a couple of these. Let's measure it. 919. Yeah, good enough. Don't chamfer too much, because you'll start making the edge sharp, and you don't really want to get the edge sharp. So chamfer, deburr a couple times, and brush the neck. And that's it. Give that one a little chamfer. I'm going to go a couple more times because that had kind of a little janky neck on it. Get the outside of the case and brush the neck. Good to go. The next step, and that's going to be seating a primer. Alright guys, now we need to put primers in these. Like I said earlier, we are using CCI large rifle, CCI 250s, large rifle primers. They are magnums, and I usually, or not usually, I always prime on the press. I like to prime on the press. I think it gives me, you know, perfect amount of feeling. I may test out a couple of the hand primers eventually, just to see how it is. I've actually never tried any, so, but I like priming on the press. It gives me good feeling, and it seats the primer really well. So, top of my box here. Alright, so I already cleaned the primer pockets out on these things, so they're good to go there. So basically we are putting a little primer in the cup, putting our case in there, and we are priming on the downstroke. Run your finger over it, make sure it's flush. Make sure the primer's just sitting a little bit below flush or flush, you know, it should be good. Let's do another one. I ain't gonna show you too many of these because priming is priming and everybody has seen priming. Perfect. Just a hair below flush. Oh. Flush. I'm gonna take that out, make sure nothing fell in that primer cup because that one felt a little weird. Sometimes on the little primer, on the primer end there, you can build up some crud and you'll start seeding primers. You'll feel it. You'll feel it really quick. Alright, I'm going to show you a couple more. Let me grab my, make sure these are, yep, alright. I'm going to show you a couple more. That one's perfect. These are definitely, even after the 6th firing, their primer pockets are feeling really nice still. Nice and tight. And perfect, good to go. Alright, last one. And there we go. We got a flush primer. So, perfect. Alright guys, see you in the next step, which is going to be powder charge. I got a new scale coming in the mail. It's a Lee balance beam scale. It measures down to like 5/10 of a grain, or down to 1/10 or something like that. It's ridiculous, but it's Lee's little balance beam scale. And I'm going to trickle up on that scale and use my Frankfurt Arsenal electronic scale here for just going up to maybe like 5/10 off and then trickle up to what I need. Because that Lee balance beam, I know it's slower, but it's way more accurate. And I don't load any more than 50 rounds at a time tops. So I'm not really worried about speed. I'm worried about, you know, consistency and accuracy on the charge itself. I was using this old, little old Harder's balance beam, but it don't have a dampening system, so it sits there and just rocks back and forth, and I've been using that for quite a while, but it just takes way too long. So so you'll be seeing a new scale. I might do a box opening. I hate doing frickin' reveals from the box, but you know, if you guys want to see it, I'll do it. I don't care. So yeah, you'll be seeing a new scale here shortly. So let's get some powder in these here. Get it all cleaned out first. Alright. So, like I told you before, we are doing the seeding depth test at 40.6 grains. So that's what we're shooting for. Let me prime this. Alright, so everything's zeroed out. Let's start doing So 40.6 is what I'm shooting for. Can you guys even see that? I don't know if you can or not. 24, 30, 38, 39.7. Let me get up to 40 at least. Yeah, 39.9. 40.1, 40.2, 40.4, that's the problem with digital scales, is trickling on them is kind of tough. There's 40.6, 40.5, yeah, that's good enough. Alright, I'm going to show you guys a few of these, but there's no sense in showing you all the rounds because it's the same thing over and over. And I'll bring you back for the bullet seating. 35.4, 37, 38, 39. .2, 40.4, and 40.6. Take one little speck out of there. Alright, that's 40.6. Alright guys, I'm going to show you one more. .9, 37, 39.5. Yeah, I got into reloading quite a while back ago, and I owe most of my reloading to Johnny's Reloading Bench and Ultimate Reloader. Gavin and Shannon, both of them have taught me reloading in almost every caliber, and I always check their page. When I buy a new caliber, I check their page. I look at both of them, and Johnny's Reloading Bench he got me into reloading, and he's taught me so much. So he's taught me a lot. So anytime I need to know something, I go there and learn, and he does a really good job. Alright, 40.3, 40.4, 40.6. Let's see if I got too much in there. 40.6. So yeah, I owe most of my reloading to Johnny's Reloading Bench and Ultimate Reloader. Gavin, same thing. He stopped doing most of the reloading stuff though. He just does kind of like product reveals towards the end, or like now. Product reveals like the 7 PRC and all that, and if a new press comes out, because, you know, just like this channel, I'm not going to be able to get monetized because they don't like the reloading stuff. But yeah, so I owe most of my stuff to them. I don't know why I moved it to that one. Big dummy. When you guys are charging these, just move it to the next one you're doing. After you drop a powder charge, go to the next one. Do not, I don't think I can double charge these anyways. No, I can't. So the powder on these are, you're not going to be able to see it anyways, but it's about just below the neck, the body shoulder junction. So I couldn't double charge these, but still. Alright guys, we will see you in the next section here, which is bullet seating. We are seating bullets now. For seating bullets, I don't do anything special, especially right now. I am going to order probably a Hornady 6.5 Creedmoor set or an RCBS. I wouldn't mind having a little micro adjust seating stem, make things easier, but this is what I got for now. So this is what I'm running with. Alright, so run this down to the top of the shell holder, back your seating stem out, and you're good to go. So this is the seating depth test, so I am starting off at touching the lands and going 5 thousandths off. All the way to, I think probably 30 thousandths I'm going to go. So touching 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Actually no, I'm not doing 20 because we already shot 20. That's what I do the powder test at, is 20 thousandths off the land. So we don't need to do 20. So 5, 10, 15, no, touching, and then 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So we're doing 50 thousandths off the lands, and we're going from there. Alright, before I get this set up here, you guys need to get your comparator in there, your bullet comparator, not headspace. So get your, I like going by, because going overall length from the tip of the bullet is very inconsistent. So I definitely recommend you pick up this comparator set. I'd get one head spacing comparator body and one bullet comparator body for every single one of your calibers, because every single caliber you're going to need one, and measuring from ogive to base is way more consistent than tip to base. So get your ogive comparator in there, zero it out, and let's start from there. Back your seating stem way out. So touching is 2.240. So this first row need to be touching the lands, and I am at 2.465. So need to go a little more. I gotta make sure my battery ain't running out here. It is, but so go down quite a bit more. 2.421. A couple more screws in. We're looking for 2.240. So that one's 2.329. Need to go another half a turn. 2.282. 83. So let's do another half turn. Ooh, getting close. 2.245. So we need 40. So that's a 1/16 of a turn right there. 2.2385. So yeah, gonna back off just a hair, and there you go. Let's seat another one just to make sure. 2.246, 2.240. Alright, so I'm going to seat the rest, going 5 thousandths down off the lands, and we will be done. If you guys like this stuff, I appreciate if you guys subscribe. I'm never going to be able to get monetized on here because YouTube don't like reloading ammunition. So yeah, I do have a Patreon and a PayPal going. If you guys want to help, I appreciate it. If not, that's okay too. I know I don't have too many subscribers, but I'd appreciate any help I can get. All the money's going to go to bullets and you know, powder, and that's it, and maybe updating equipment, you know. So alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. The next one will be shooting this seating depth test right here. So alright guys, I appreciate it. Alright, I'll see you out on the range.